And we'll turn the time over to Kathy.
Oh, okay.
Take it away.
Hi, everybody. Maddie, are we good? Is everything looking good?
We are good.
Perfect. I'm so excited to be here with Michaels to share a project with you. We're going to be doing printmaking today. This is one of my all-time favorite crafts. I love it because you can buy the supplies and they will last such a long time, although you do need to invest in the carving pads. So I'm going to show you the project. This is the finished project, and when we get to the end, I'll show you how to frame it and put it in a beautiful floating frame between two panes of glass. And the supplies that we're going to need now, I bought the Speedball printmaking starter kit. They have it at Michael's. I love it because it comes with everything. It comes with your printer ink. It comes with the carving knife that has the little attachments inside, and we can get, oh, and most importantly, it comes with the little carving pad like this. So we're also going to need some kind of maybe a pane of glass. I use my, for my die cut machine, I have so many of these that I use them for my printmaking, and the roller, a brayer, and some masking tape, pencils and pens, permanent marker and pencil, and some kind of spoon. It can be a teaspoon, a tablespoon, a wooden spoon, whatever you'd like. And to get started, before we go, let me show you, these are all the different stamps that I have made over the years. So this one, I love to just draw and create these because I can use them for greeting cards. I can use them on fabric. You can use them in mixed media artwork, so many different things. You can see how much use I have had from all of these. Here's a little coffee cup. So printmaking, it's a great way to incorporate your own designs into your artwork in the things that you make. And I'm going to show you how to do this so we can get started. I'm putting on my superpower glitter glasses, and now we will switch down here to the downward facing camera so I can show you what we're going to do. Now, the first thing you want to do is come up with a design. So this is a design that I drew in Procreate. I just made a simple sketch. If you're a beginner, it's a good idea to think big, loose designs. Now, this was my initial one that I was going to do. And I realized once I printed it, it would look really cool as a stamp, but there's just a lot of detail in here. So this is more of an intermediate type of project. So what I did was I took the image and I enlarged it to just get this part of her face. Now, the theme is Women's History Month. So I went with this image of a woman. She has her eyes closed because she is just dreaming. She's manifesting. She's visualizing the life she wants, the goals that she wants to meet. And I have all this energy in her hair, and I have some hearts and stars and some movement in there. So that is to celebrate Women's History Month. So what we're going to do is take some tracing paper. You can also get this at Michael's. I just got a pad like this. It does not have to be fancy. And I cut it into 4x6 pieces like this. So I'm going to take this first piece and I'm going to move it right here, and I'm going to tape it down. Now, this is also where you can decide what way you want to print it. If you wanted to, remember it's going to be reversed. So you could actually trace this backside and then trace it so that when you print it, it will come up facing this way. However, I just really love the reverse aspect of it. So I'm going to stick with that. So therefore, I'm going to put down my sheet here, and I'm going to tape down my tracing paper like this. And there's all different ways that you can put the design onto your piece. Like we can trace this and then put it onto our pad and have it come out the opposite way. For the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and do it this way. So what we're going to do is take our pencil and we're just going to trace over this entire design like this. And I'm just using a simple mechanical pencil. Let's see if I can scoot this. You can see that better. There we go. Okay. And because this is the one that I'm going to press on to the pad, I'm going to do it a little heavy-handed. Like this. And the eyelashes. Now I go pretty fast. So if you find that it's taking a little bit longer, that is totally okay, because we will have this video uploaded on Michael's YouTube channel next week, and then you could, continue and follow along. So I'm just outlining all of these pieces like this. And I love that this is for Women's History Month, because I've had so many key women in my career who have taken a risk to help me. And this is a time, like when we think of Women's History Month, we think of, all of the greats, Eleanor Roosevelt and, Maya Angelou, but it's also a time to think about the women in our lives who were always there for us, not only our moms and our grandmothers, our best friends, but also just people who randomly came into our lives. And for me, I had this one newspaper editor who gave me a chance. I was just a clerk working in the tear sheet room at the Arizona Republic, and she had an opening for a news clerk. Even though I didn't have my journalism degree, she let me interview for the job and she ended up hiring me. She took a chance on me, and that's what led to my craft column and doing all the things that I love to do. So now that I have this traced in pencil, I'm going to peel this up. And remember, this is going to be in reverse. So if I wanted to, I could redraw this in pencil and then put it down here to carve. But you know what? I'm going to keep this like this, and we're going to print it this way. I'm going to do something different this time. So I'm lining it up with the edge here, and I'm just going to put some more tape. This. And like this. And now I can take my spoon and I'm just going to rub this so that the pencil will transfer. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to go over this in pen. And see how easy that was? So now what we're going to do is I like to take a Sharpie, any kind of permanent marker. It can even be a ballpoint pen. This is just to mark out, outline and X out where we're going to carve. So now I'm going to go through and I'm going to trace this again with the marker. And the reason I'm doing this is because as you work carving, it's easy to smear the pencil. And if you do it in permanent marker, you won't have that problem. Especially me, because I'm left-handed. So I'm just tracing this whole design. Like this. going through these little stars. Now, if you're doing words, I mean, really pay special attention to the way that you're doing it, because remember, when we print this paper and lift it, it's going to come out reverse. So the way that I trace this, it will come out like this, because we're going to print it and then it'll come out opposite. For my finished ones that I did them the opposite way. I kept them with this angle. So I'm just going through and tracing all of these. And yeah, it was so funny because that lady who hired me for the newspaper, I went into her office for that interview, and she had one of my flower pots that I had painted and sold at a local store. She had one on her desk, and I knew that was a good sign. And because she could tell right away that I was an action-oriented person and that I was creative. So you just never know where your crafts are going to end up. You never know who's going to end up with them and how they will play a difference in your life's career plans. And because of that job, I started as a newspaper clerk, but when they needed a craft columnist, they asked if I would like to write a weekly craft column. And I said yes. And within a few months, it was picked up and syndicated in 130 different papers. And it was such an amazing experience. And in 2007, I left to do Crafty Chica full time. So it's all about consistency. And that's what that one editor taught me. And while I was there, another editor, I'm going to give her a little heart for her cheek. Okay, so now I have her drawn out. So now this is an important part. We want to put little X's where we want to carve. So I know I want to carve out the middle, and you can use this one as a template to help you. So I'm going to put an X here, an X here, an X here on her face. And I know her lips. And I'm going to color this black. So I want to leave that black. And then all of these little pieces I'm going to carve out and leave her hair black. This is going to, all the places where it's raised, that is the relief print. And what's left behind is we're going to carve this and leave this black. Okay, so now that we have this drawn out, and you're looking at these lines and thinking, oh my gosh, how do we leave the lines there? Well, when you look at your tool, I have two different tools for the sake of time. I have the smaller one. You're going to use this smaller one to go into your cutter here. And then there's a little bit bigger one. And they're located at the bottom. You can store them right there for all different sizes. And you're just going to unscrew this and slide it in there and make it nice and tight. And I'm going to just pause a minute to give everyone a chance to do that. Is everyone still drawing or tracing over it?
As those answers roll in, I wanted to give a few shout outs to the people we have in the chat. We have Susie Little Fox, who says, I took an art class in college trying to do that and could never figure it out. Finally, someone broke it down and I get it.
Yay, good, good.
And Robin said your story was very inspiring.
Oh, thank you.
And then we have Juanita, who says, hi, Kathy, I'm at my day job, but I had to join in and watch.
Oh, wonderful. I love that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start carving. So what I like to do is I first take the smaller blade and we're going to carve on either side of the line. And always carve away from yourself so you don't cut yourself. Ask me how I know that. And you're just going to hold it, follow along, and it just carves like butter. It's so smooth. And now we're going to go on the opposite side of the line and just very carefully, you know, try not to hit that line. Give yourself some space. And the thing with printmaking is that it's very folk artish. Like, it is okay if it is not perfect, especially if you're new at this. I feel like it just, the more primitive it looks, it looks cooler. So give yourself permission to play and learn the process. We're just going to.
Kathy, we have another question in the chat.
Uh-huh.
Rosemary is wondering if you can go over the carving spots again. Maybe can you explain your thought process of where you decide to cut and whatnot?
So you can decide what part you want to be raised. So for this one, here's our picture, right? Here's our picture. So I left all of this black. So I knew that was the part I wanted to leave black because that's what it would look like after it was printed. The black is the relief part that's going to be raised. All of the white parts are the parts that are going to be carved. So whatever kind of paper, like say you're printing, you want to put this stamp on wrapping paper, the wrapping paper design will show through where the white parts are because we're carving it all out and leaving the indentions there. Now these strokes are called, it's like chatter. They're the little extra strokes. So as you carve this, you want to be intentional of how you want it to look. If you do it all crazy, it will come out looking that way. If you do it, you know, see how I have these smooth lines going out. This one follows her body. This one follows around the shape of her face. So this is all the indentation parts. For the most part, you won't see these, but sometimes you can see right there. It will pop up a little. That is totally fine. It's part of the printmaking process. And you can look at your picture and know that the black part is what you will not carve. So when you transfer it on here, look at your picture and go in and add the X's on all of the white parts. So you could just look, okay, white, 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 white. So you can see where all the X's are. That's where you're going to carve out. Does that help?
I think you explained that beautifully. Thank you.
Good, good. And what I'm doing now is I'm using the smaller blade to go through and outline this first part. So I just went around the outside of the line. And now I can use the larger blade to go in and carve the bigger piece. And I'm just going to run it along the groove of the one that I already cut. It's away from the line. Just like that. And I'm just going to keep going. And I'm keeping in the groove of her body. And believe me, once you get the hang of this, oh, you will become addicted to making these. They're just so fun to use on everything. I use them on greeting cards. I like to buy the blank cards at Michael's, the ones, the florals, you know, when they have like the big box of them on sale. And then you can put your own printed design on top of the floral card, and it just becomes a work of art. And you can sit down and do the whole box of them if you wanted. You could use it for wrapping paper. There's just so many different uses. And so I'm just carving this part out. And this easy carve pad is so nice. Like if you really, really get into lino cutting, printmaking, you could switch to the hard blocks, the linoleum, and it's a little bit harder texture. But for me, I'm like, I'd like to use these in my crafts. So I just always stick with these. So I have this first layer cut here. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to carve out this side. And again, I'm going to use the smaller blade. And if you only have one carving knife, go ahead and just outline the whole thing with the smaller blade. Let's do that. So I'm going around the outside. And when you get near her lips, just go a little slower, a little bit of time. This reminds me of a pink eraser.
Couple more comments from the chat, Kathy.
Uh-huh.
Dee says, I adore you, Kathy. You, your artwork and crafts and your books and
Oh,
videos always cheer me up.
thank you. Thank you so much.
Jasmine asks, does the tool limit the depth? Or do you have to learn and get a feel for how deep to carve? Can you carve all the way through it?
So I would say at first, you just go in lightly until you get comfortable with it. And then if you can go in with more depth. And whoops, my blade just fell out. So I just opened this up and I'm going to put my blade in here and then screw this back on. So once you get used to it, you can know, to add more pressure. And especially after your first print, you'll see like, okay, I'm going to add a little more pressure to this. And that's what I like about this is you can do your print and then you could go back in and carve more. So I carved the outside here and I can go ahead and since we have the smaller blade, I can carve these little lines in her hair. And you can turn your piece to get some nice glides going on. This is such a good craft to listen to a podcast or an audiobook because it's just so therapeutic. So I'm just carving these little lines like this.
Chris Wagner says, I just moved from Arizona and remember reading your articles in the Arizona Republic. I love your Latino-centric jewelry and decorations, especially the Frida and Dia de los Muertos items. I am so glad to see you in collaboration with Michael.
Oh, thank you. Yes, like the biggest lesson from doing that craft column, this was at a time when Martha everyone was watching Martha's show. And I'm going to go ahead and keep carving while I tell you this story. And I was really nervous because I was like, wow, I love Martha. I love that people love Martha, but I'm not Martha. Like, I don't use any of those colors where she was very classy and minimalist. I just love bright, bold colors. And I decided that to just be myself and do the types of projects that I love to do, but I would always offer ideas of how people could adapt it to their own personality. And I think that is what made my column a success because people saw something different. And it was just really nice to have that kind of feedback from people that they could say, you know what, I would never use bright red and green outside of Christmas, but I love your idea and I used my own favorite colors and made that project. So that was really, really fun. And then it was funny because I went to the craft convention for the first time and I had my press badge. And some of these companies, they were like, oh, we made a craft kit based off of your craft column idea. And I was like, oh, wow. And that planted a seed in my mind of like, wow, I wonder if I could have my own brand of craft supplies and craft kits. Like that was when I first got the idea. And I was really nervous about it because I thought, oh my gosh, there's already Martha out there. Like, do we need more craft people? And then I decided to stop thinking like that. And I'm, you know what? I'm just going to do what I love to do. And what I found, and what still holds true to this day, is there's space enough for all of us to do what we love to do. And stay true to who you are. And, you know, these women who have helped me in my career, there was another one who, you know, I had been doing the craft column and I was still a clerk because I didn't have my bachelor's degree. They weren't allowed to promote me to an official columnist. And this one editor, she was the managing editor of the whole newsroom. She would come by my desk every day and she said, when are you going to go to night school to finish your bachelor's? And I said, there's no way in the world. You know, I'm a mom. I have 2 kids. My husband and I are already busy enough as it is. And she just kept coming by my desk. When are you going to go to night school so we can give you the pay that you deserve? I was settling. I was like, oh, I should be happy. I'm doing the craft column. I have a byline. And I thought that's enough for me. And she taught me it's okay to want more for yourself. It's not being greedy. It's getting what you deserve. And you know what? I signed up for night school and it took me 2.5 years, but I finally got my bachelor's degree and they gave me the official title of a syndicated columnist and I got the pay that I deserved for doing columnist work. And that she taught me such a valuable lesson to believe in yourself and don't be afraid to ask for what you deserve, to work for what you deserve, to sacrifice for what you deserve. And that was just such an incredible experience. And I found her email and she didn't even remember me, but I told her the story of how she changed my life. And she's like, I'm so glad to hear that. So sometimes the way that you interact with people and treat people and show kindness and inspiration, you may never even know the impact you have on their life. And that she inspired me to look for other people that I recognize who had that spark and just to help guide them along, you know, whether if it's something on their website that they could do better or how to teach a painting class, whatever it could be, just paying it forward. And another, I love that all of the key points in my career have come from women who reached out to help me. And another one was this one CEO of Duncan Enterprises. I would always blog about how much I loved tacky glue. And they looked at my blog and they reached out to me and I ended up having my very own craft product line in Michaels for 8 years. I had my products in Michaels in the fashion art category. And it was this one lady who she hired me away from the newspaper. And she said, what would it take for you to leave the newspaper? And I was like, oh my gosh, this is my dream job. Like, why would I leave it? And I realized again, I was settling. I was like, I already had accomplished everything I wanted at the paper. And I felt like this was a sign. Okay, now I'm moving to the other blade to cut out the hearts. And I decided to take a chance and leave my dream job at the paper so that I could try another dream job of working in the craft industry. And that's what led to everything. And I'm so glad I did that because I left in April and by October, the newspapers started having massive layoffs. So you really have to pay attention to signs and things that happen to you and know that sometimes it's for a good reason. Like I always say, rejection is protection. So, just pay attention to the opportunities and why they're coming to you, or even the things that aren't happening. It could be for a certain reason. But yeah, that's why I love this project for Women's History Month, because it's, like I said, it's not just our moms or our grandmas or our family. Sometimes it's the people on the outside who give us those chances.
As a little time check, we're about halfway through class.
Okay.
And I wanted to read some of the comments we had coming in from the chat. And Susie Little Fox says, I was never taught about negative space, which has never made sense to me. Or I was taught about negative space, which has never made sense to me. If the professor had simply said, put an X where you have the negative space, I would have gotten it a lot easier.
Yes. I know sometimes in the art world, it's like, what? And you just simplify it, like, let's just put an X where we need to cut. Let's keep it simple.
And then Robin says, wow, you're an inspiration. And Melissa says, that's a great story. And rejection is protection. Thanks for that, Jem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially in pursuing things that you like to do. It's in crafting, sometimes we have our craft fails. We learn from them. That's how we get better. Like, Maddie was asking me earlier if I had ever accidentally carved this backwards. And I'm like, heck yeah. When I first started this, I did it wrong. And yeah, you have a couple ugly cries over it, but I'm like, okay, I'm not going to make that mistake again, because I did it the first time and I know not to do that. That's how we learn. So you got to honor those mistakes, because someone told me they're called like blessings and lessons. And it's okay not to understand everything. I posted a TikTok. There's a new TikTok trend going around with the Reading Rainbow music, and you're supposed to post something that confuses you. And I posted, even though I have designed fabric collections and I love to sew, I have the hardest time learning how to use a traditional sewing pattern. So I put that as my thing, and I was like, oh, are people gonna say, oh my gosh, Crafty Chica can't even do a sewing pattern? And then all these people agreed, and they're like, I have the same problem. I freestyle it. I do fabric collage. So I'm like, yay, I'm not alone. So you can see I'm just going through and I'm looking for all of the X's, and those are the ones that I'm going to carve. And I'm moving this block in the direction to carve, and it just carves so easily. So I'm going to do this heart, and then I'm going to do her face, and then I'll show you how to do the actual print part.
Couple more comments from the chat. Susie says, sounds like my grandson's story. He was fired over a petty thing, but because he was fired, he was able to land a better job, making more money in less hours.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. There's always something better there for you. And even like, the whole situation with the newspaper, at the time we were going through a reorganization, and I found out that I was going to be going from doing my craft column and my movie column to covering Phoenix city courts. That was a big change. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I will fall asleep covering city courts. Like I'm just not a city courts kind of person. And when the opportunity came along for Duncan, it was difficult because I'm like, wow, this is my dream job, working at the newspaper. Am I really going to leave this job for crafts? And even my parents, my mom was like, if they pay you in glue, tell them no. And I'm like, no, Mom, it's an actual salary. It ended up paying way more than the newspaper job paid. But it was like just a crazy thing when I would tell my family, yeah, I'm leaving the newspaper to work for a craft company. And everyone was like, are they going to pay you in glue? And I'm like, no, they're going to pay me actual money. So if anything is possible. So I'm going to just finish up this little star quickly and then go into her face. And if you do like this and want to do a lot of it, definitely get 2 of these. Oh, my little thing came out again. Definitely get 2 of these. And I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the printing part of this because we only have 20 minutes left. So let me scoot this out of the way. And this one I will continue to work on later, but I'm just going to keep carving there. This is what the finished version looks like. And so I could go through and carve out any of these little chatter pieces that are showing up. This one I ended up adding some little hearts at the top. Okay, so let's print. So for printing, I love this mixed media pad. It's from Artist Loft. You can get it at Michael's. There's 20 sheets and this one is 6 by 8. And I love this because once I print it, I can trim it to the size that I want. Let me scoot this out of the way. I'm going to set this here. And this is the ink. And you want to just kind of massage this. You don't want it to be too watery. And then we have our brayer like this. And I have the spoon. So I'm going to put a little bit at the top here. This is so fun. It's my favorite part. And we're going to roll it out. And you know when it's right, when you hear like this little buzz or like a little sizzle. You hear that? Hear the sizzle? Nice and smooth. And I'm going to take my print and I'm going to roll it over like this. Hear the sizzle? And now I'm going to take my paper and I'm just going to set it down like this. And you could use a mat that has grids so that you know the placement of it. But for the sake of today, I'm just going to place it on top to show you. So you can use your hand. You really want to get in there. I like using the spoon. You can see through the paper. Get her eyes, all her hair. And don't expect a perfect print the first time. This is going to be kind of like your test print to see where else you need to carve, where else you need to put more ink or add more pressure. Okay, now we're ready to lift the paper for the reveal. Oh, that came out good. Now you could see I should have had more pressure over here. So I'm going to save this because I can use it for something. So I'm going to go again and grab another piece of paper. And I'm going to load up my brayer. Oh, that sizzle sound.
We had a couple of comments in the chat. Belinda says,
Okay.
how about using another clean brayer to apply pressure rather than a spoon?
Yeah, you could do that too. If you have another brayer, you could use that. I also have this. Let's use this one. This one I use for my scrapbooking for my stamps, but I also use it for my printmaking too. Put that on. So yeah, if you have another brayer, you could totally do that. Let's try this one.
Anna says she loves using the idea of using a wooden spoon to smooth out the paper because we all have one of those in our kitchen.
Yes, and you could even use like a big tablespoon. Yes, I like to use what we have around. So I hope I added enough ink. I don't know if I added enough ink.
The good thing with using a block print is that you can try it over and over again until you get it right on sample paper.
Yes, exactly.
Put it.
You can see all of my other ones, my other samples here that I did. And I like this flower one. So what is neat about this is you could do this on your scrapbook paper, wrapping paper. So here's another print. Definitely need to add more ink. But you know what else would be neat is to put watercolor on this, or maybe take this sheet of paper, put watercolor on it, let it dry, and then print on top of the watercolor. That would be really cool. You could also put this into your Procreate and then erase this part so it's transparent, so you could use it in your digital artwork as well. So I'm going to do one more print on this, and I'm going to add some more ink, and then I'll show you the frame portion.
Veronica asks, Kathy, you said you created this design in Procreate. Do you teach how to use Procreate?
Sure. Yeah. In fact, I have it right here. So let me pull it up. Procreate is an amazing tool to use for your crafts. Let's see. I'll show you this design. Let me see my patterns. Okay, so here is the pattern that I did. And so here's my pencil. And you work in layers. So this one I had taken, I told you how this was the original pattern that I had. Look at how that's a lot of detail. I'm like, I don't think we can cover that in an hour. So I decided to condense it and make it smaller. So I went to this one. And so I can go to a new layer and then just choose black. And the pen that I like can go to inking. And I really like this brush called Syrup. And then if I wanted to add another design, whoops, I can make this smaller. Whoops, let me change that, put that down. And then I can, add some other designs like this. And then use the black to fill it in like that. And then what I would do is fix it however I want to fix it. And then I can hit this button and I can share it to, as a JPEG file or even a PNG file. Let's see. No, I don't have that. I have it clear. And then I can share it to my photo gallery, to my desktop. And then I printed it out on 4x6 photo paper, which is just, I buy it at the store, and let's see. So it's just 4x6 photo paper. And that's what I use for the design to be able to to print it. Does that help?
Yes, definitely. And we also had a question, can you use acrylic paint rather than ink when stamping?
Acrylic paint? Okay, so you can use acrylic paint. However, I found that acrylic paint dries very hard. And for your stamps, you should definitely clean these off with a baby wipe, which I usually have a stack of baby wipes here. You want to clean it off with a baby wipe, and you want to keep it flexible. So some of these I used acrylic paint. This one I used acrylic paint, and you could see what it did to it. It just kind of made it kind of hard. And I didn't like that. So the thing with this paint, with Speedball paint, is it has a little more flexibility to it. You hear that sizzle? So in a nutshell, if you don't have this paint, yes, you can use acrylic paint. Just make sure to use that baby wipe to clean off your stamp so that it will last you a long time. And I'm going to add some more ink to her hair over here. And I think you could even get, first let me print this here. And I think it would be fun to get the ink in different colors and use different stamps and stamp on top of it. Now this one, I like getting these big ones. Again, use your 40% off coupon, because then you can cut them into smaller pieces like this to make smaller stamps. Us crafters, we are very thrifty. We will take one thing and use it 1,000 different ways, right? It's another type of crafty to be able to do that in your head. And in honor of Women's History Month, this is a great project to do and share with the women in your family or in your office. Get some friends together, make a little craft night. Maybe you each have, you can carve a self-portrait of yourself. You could take your picture and then trace over the outline of it and use that as your pattern. Okay. And for extra, I'll just use my spoon. Again, I love this mixed media paper. If you're just starting, you don't have to spend a lot of money on the papers and things. Get the hang of it. And then once you feel like, okay, I'm ready to elevate this, there you go. Here's another print. That one came out nice. And what I did with the prints, I love these floating frames at Michael's. They come in different sizes. So in the scrapbook section, I got some scrapbook paper. I used my pinking shears and I cut out the image and I put just a little hint of color on it. And one thing I forgot to tell you that you could do is when you print this out, you could write a little affirmation there. So for this one, I'm just going to use this pen here and I'm just going to put be present. This is something I've been working on all this year because I'm always talking about do it for your future self. And I'm like, okay, I need to do it for my present self. So here I have these pinking shears that I use for my paper crafting. I have a separate pair for sewing, but for these I use for a paper crafting. I'm just cutting this out. As you do your prints, like once you get the hang of it, number them, like put your little initial, because this is artwork that you're making. And I could say like 1 of 10. And do this once you have made a whole bunch of prints, pick out the best ones, and put your initials, the date, and 1 of 10, 2 of 10. You could put them in a little cello bag with a little backing to sell them as their original art. I have another friend who sent me this one. Isn't that beautiful? So it's just a matter of taking the time to learn it, to practice, to make a lot of prints and pick out the best ones. And so here's this. So this is a 2-pane frame. You could see in there, there's the glass in the back. And what I did was I used dry adhesive dots to secure it to the back of the frame. And then this other part of the glass, I'm just going to slide this in the top. Just stand this up. There's 2 little slots here. So we're just going to slide this in like that. And then it comes with this top piece that slides in right here. Oops, I can't see because of the camera. There we go. I think I did that right. Okay. So then you have just this really cool frame that you can use, and you could even add in some paper flowers in there. You could put confetti at the bottom or glitter. You could paint this frame up here. I have another one where I painted the frame. I think it's behind me at my set here. But there's just a lot of different things you could do with this. So if you don't want to go into the printmaking business, and Maddie, we can switch back to my face camera here. Hello. So there's a lot of things you can do with it. Like if you don't want to go into making full on hundreds of prints, you could just take one. And like I said, you could take maybe your grandmother for, Women's History Month, take a picture of her, put the tracing paper on top, trace her outline of her face with the pen and the marker, and then use that to make a carving of her. How cool would that be to have a story behind what you're doing? And yes, it's good to, to celebrate the larger, more well-known women for Women's History Month, but we also need to celebrate our neighbors, our friends, our cousins who are there to help us and support us. And how neat would it be? One of the things that we're doing in my family, because we only see each other at weddings and funerals, so we decided to have a family craft night. And we're making coloring pages of our elders who have passed on, our great grandparents and our grandparents. And that way we can tell stories about our family and things that they loved, share favorite quotes of them. And so those are things you can incorporate in this. Now, if you don't want to do a face with the hair, maybe it's a word. Maybe it's a word that your grandmother or your mom always says, or something to empower yourself. You could carve that out. Just remember to do the transfer correctly. And remember, if you mess up, it's okay. Try again. If every time you mess up is a good story to tell later, it's your crafty badge of honor. We all have them. So don't be shy. Don't have any shame about it. Go in, try it. Printmaking is such a fun traditional craft. And like I said, once you get the basic supplies, you can do so much with this craft. And use your 40% off coupon at Michael's. I love how they're always stocked with the inks and the brayer and the pads, all of those. And does anyone else have any questions? We have about 6 minutes left.
I can read off a few of the comments in the chat. Okay. Marianne says, thank you for the wonderful new craft and their inspiring stories.
Oh, great. You're
My
welcome.
cat also
Thanks for
says hello. Robin says she would love to hear more about your family project. If people want to find out more from you or see more of your work, where can they find you online?
You can go to craftychica.com, but I'm really most active on Instagram at Crafty Chica, TikTok at Crafty Chica, and my Facebook page at Kathy Cano-Murillo. But if you go to Crafty Chica, I have all the links there. But usually on Instagram and on TikTok, it's up to the date. We just got our kitchen remodeled. I show all the behind the scenes of everything that's opening the kiln of the ceramics. I love to get messages and talk with people. So feel free to reach out. Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Kathy. I think we will wrap up there.
For everyone who would like to rewatch this, the recording will be uploaded on the Michael Stores YouTube channel on Monday, so you can find it there. Thank you again, Kathy, and thank you everyone for tuning in.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend.